Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to take a very brief look at Smash Up. This game is for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, with the average play time being about 45 minutes. In this game, players will choose 2 factions, whether they be robots or pirates, ninjas, whatever. And using these factions, they'll be battling for control over the various bases as they come up during the game in order to score points. So with that being said, let's just take a quick moment to look at the components and see how the game is played. The base game includes a total of 8 faction decks. Each faction deck is made up of 20 cards, and those 20 cards can further be broken up into minion cards, which allow the player to take over base cards as they come up during the game, and various action cards that allow the player to perform special abilities. The game also includes these base cards. These are the physical locations that players will be trying to take control of in order to score points. As far as game setup is concerned, each player will choose a total of 2 factions and shuffle them together to form a 40-card deck. Each player will also deal themselves 5 cards to form their starting hand. If their starting hand doesn't consist of a minion card, they can show that to the other players and then they can discard these in order to draw 5 more. As far as these base cards are concerned, a certain number will be played face up after the deck is shuffled, of course, but a certain number will be dealt face up depending on how many people are playing the game. Basically, it's 1 per player plus 1. So in a 2-player game, you'll have a total of 3 base cards on the table during the course of the game. Now before I go any further, I just want to quickly show you what a minion card looks like. In the upper left-hand corner is the amount of power that this particular minion will give off. And I'll show you why that's important in a minute. Now on the very bottom are any sort of special abilities that this card may have. In this example, on your turn, if you have not yet played a minion, you may return this minion to your hand and play an extra minion on this base. So different cards have different abilities, and different factions have different skill sets, so to speak. So you want to go through the decks ahead of time to see what faction would suit your particular playstyle. Now, as far as these base cards are concerned, the upper left-hand corner is a value that will tell the players how much power is needed here in order for this particular base card to score. You've also got some values listed in the middle. These are victory point values that are rewarded to players based on how much power they have there. The player that has the most power at this location whenever it scores will be awarded 4 victory points. The runner-up will be given 2, and the person in third place will receive 1. So players will be trying to play as many minion cards or high-valued minion cards on these bases as they can in order to have the most power at these locations. Again, the person with the most power will be rewarded with the most victory points. Base cards also list special abilities along the bottom for players to observe. For example, after each time a minion is destroyed here, its owner gains 1 victory point. A player's turn is broken up into 5 phases. You have the crank it up phase, the play cards phase, the check for scoring phase, draw 2 cards phase, and the shut it down phase. During the first phase, the crank it up phase, that is basically just for special effects that may be taking place at this time. If there's no special effects in play that would be observed during this particular phase, then you can just skip it. The second phase, the play cards phase, allows the player to play 1 minion card and 1 action card. Just to show you an example of what that might look like, the player's going to go ahead and play 1 minion card. He's going to play this King Rex valued at 7 power, which is pretty darn high, onto one of these bases here. And now the player has the ability to play an action card. He's going to go ahead and play this upgrade action card, play on a minion, ongoing. This minion has +2 power. So now this King Rex minion has a power value worth of 9. And that 9 will be put toward the total power needed in order for this particular base card to score. The third phase, or the check for scoring phase, just simply has players looking at all of the base cards on the table and seeing if all of the minions and the action cards situated there add up to a value that is equal or greater than the value listed here. In this case, you have 9, and the base calls for 23, so this card would not yet score. Now, for the sake of argument, let's say that there were more cards at this location. Let's say this player had maybe 10 or 15, and this player had 10 or 15, and the total added up to equal to or more than 23. In that case, players would be allowed to play any sort of special abilities that might be appropriate for that particular part. If players don't have any, or if they've played whatever they wanted to play, they'll go ahead and take their minions back and their power-up cards back, put them into their discard pile, and then players would score points based on how much power they have there. The person with the most power would receive the most victory points, and so on and so forth. This card would then be discarded, and a new base card would take its place. Now, obviously, you would need to keep track of these victory points as they are earned, so I recommend you have a pencil and a tablet handy. Now, before moving on to the next phase, it's worth noting that if a player earns 15 or more victory points, they win the game. So with that being said, the fourth phase of the game is the draw 2 cards phase, and all players will do is just simply take 2 cards from their draw pile. If they happen to run out, they'll just simply take their discard pile, shuffle it up, and that'll become their new draw pile. Also, a player's hand limit is 10 cards. If you happen to have more than 10 cards, you'll have to discard back down to 10. Lastly, you have the final phase, the shut it down phase, and that acts exactly like the first phase. Any cards that have special effects that are appropriate to this phase will be observed at this time. After that, the player's turn will end, and the next player clockwise around the table will go ahead and take their turn. Now, before I close out the video, I just wanted to briefly go over the different factions in the game. I'm not going to go into detail, but I just want to show you what they at least look like. You've got your robot faction here. They come with like different microbot reclaimers, tech center abilities, warbots, microbot alpha, nukebot, different things like that. Each faction is pretty well themed in my opinion. You've got these wizards here, archmages, mystic studies actions, time loop. You've got summon, neophyte, I think that's how you pronounce that, enchantress. You've also got these pirates. They come with pirate kings and first mate cards. You've got your saucy wenches, full sail, action cards, cannon. You've got your tricksters here. Those come with gnomes, leprechauns, take the shinies, enshrouding mist, mark of sleep. You've also got aliens. You've got your collectors, invaders, beam up, disintegrator, probes, different things like that. You've got your dinosaurs, war raptors, laseratops, there we go, wildlife preserve, survival of the fittest, King Rex, upgrade. You've also got your ninja decks, which are hidden ninja, ninja acolyte. You've got shinobi, tiger assassin, ninja master, seeing stars, assassination. And finally, you have your zombie deck. Gravedigger, overrun card, mall crawl, walkers, outbreak cards, Tenacious Z, Gravediggers. So yeah, there you have it. That's just a very quick look at the 8 different factions in the core set. There are expansions that allow you to buy more, and as you can see via the box insert here, there's actually room to place those extra expansions should you pick them up. And there you have it. That's just a very quick look at the game's Smash Up. I didn't cover all of the rules in the manual, but this should just give you the general idea as far as how the game is played. You can check out my review at www.dadsgamingaddiction.com, or you can click on the link in the below description that'll take you there as well. This is Vince, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.